Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I'm your host, Gregory Iron, and we're now on YouTube. This is
Pardon the interruption. Hey, over here. Huh? Are we live?
We're not live.
Are we live?
We're live to tape.
Are we taped? Pardon the interruption. Aaron Bauer in the building. Back, huh?
Yeah.
Here we are. New studio.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say it's our new digs.
Who says that?
Old people.
Okay.
They're
Well,
probably ones that don't listen to this podcast.
yeah.
So-
Well, this is episode 223, technically speaking, but this is our very first on YouTube, and we're happy to be back. We took 3 weeks off. Am I right when I said that?
It may have been.
Yeah. We did most downloaded episodes, but now we're giving you some fresh content. We got fresh in the house. Of course, I'm back, and we got our brand new producer on board, Sean Flash Robbins. Hello, Sean.
Hello.
Good to
Hey.
see you.
Microphone won't work.
Microphone won't work.
That's all right. I got his music.
What's his music?
Well, I'm a Flash man. Meow, meow.
Okay.
And I use a flash drive.
Okay.
Meow, meow.
Sean, is your microphone going to work?
It doesn't look like it.
Okay.
You want to just use mine?
I'm just sit up.
Sometime in the future,
Mm-hmm.
we will talk to Sean on the show. But if you're new to the podcast, I am Gregory Iron. I am a professional wrestler, but I'm also a professional
Barely.
wrestler with cerebral palsy. I heard you.
Yep.
I know.
I thought this was just a video podcast.
No, I could still hear you even if you're across the room. I'm a professional wrestler with cerebral palsy. It's a disability that affects the right side of my body, particularly my right arm, hand, and fingers. But despite that, I've been a wrestler for 17 years, doing my thing in the ring. And, I've worked with some noteworthy talent over the years. Perhaps you've heard of Stone Cold Steve Austin,
What?
CM Punk,
What?
Cole Cabana,
What?
Brody Lee,
Who?
Johnny Gargano.
Nope.
You never Shane Douglas. I know you know
Shane
Douglas.
Taylor.
No one cares about him. I have worked with, as recently as this weekend, Scotty 2 Hotty, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I've worked with a plethora of names from WWE, AEW. I've never been signed. That's unfortunate. But I'm doing a podcast, so I guess that seems like the natural
Yeah, and what are those
progression.
guys doing, huh? They don't have podcasts.
Yeah, they're just
other people.
signed for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, that's for people that are in it for the money. You and I, obviously, painfully obvious, we're not in it for the money.
No.
We're in it for the love of the business.
We're creating that content for you guys, and so the podcast is something we've been doing for 4 years. You guys on Patreon know that, patreon.com/Iron Wrestling. You are our biggest supporters, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy this new video podcast. If you've been listening to audio in the past, whether it's for free on iTunes, wherever you download podcasts, or Patreon, we thank you for always watching and supporting, and I hope you enjoy this new video version of the show. We're going to try to change things up a little bit. We're still going to have interviews every now and then. We're also going to play some games, watch some things, and react to them. It's going to be a different Iron on Wrestling, but
Are we going to tell stories?
I think we're going to tell stories. I think we might go back into the archives and tell some stories that we told in the past, because what's old is new again.
I want to make movies.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You should drink a bottle of water while you say that.
Okay.
You're going to tell someone to puke?
I don't get it.
You got a little chocolate on your shirt. Anyways,
Fuck is
that's
this,
basically who
chocolate?
I am, Gregory Iron. Aaron, would you like to tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right.
But I would like to tell the audience a little bit about
Me, baby Greg. Me, baby Greg, make introduction. Oh, love to do podcasts all day, every day. Me sit home, and me watch TV, and me play on YouTube, and me play video game, and me try and solve game, and me poop in pants.
Whenever
that's-
you're ready.
And then if anybody wants to contact Baby Gweg, it's
There you
at
go.
Baby Gweg
That's not a real thing.
at www.com.
It's
And then
www.com.
hey,
Two
motherfucker.
W's. That's like back in the PWO days. So Pro Wrestling Ohio used to be a thing that we were on TV for like 7 years. And randomly, Walt, the promoter, once, he did a commercial that he was hyping up how good it was to promote the first Resolution, I believe it was. He's like, guys, wait till you see it. He went down to Sports Time Ohio studio. He recorded in the professional studio. And so he's on the screen, and me and Johnny Gargano are watching it with him. And at the end, he goes, buy tickets to Resolution now. Go to www.pwowrestling.com. Tickets are limited. And then we're like, what the well, he didn't say fuck, but I said, what the fuck? www. And then Johnny's like, no one's ever going to be able to buy tickets now, Wally. You said www. He's like, shut the fuck up. And we're like, what does tickets limited mean? He's like, you know what I meant. He was so pissed off about it. But yeah, that's my random.
We got to get that guy on the podcast. Now for video? Huh?
That
we need to
like
show those long, flowing, mullet blonde locks of his. What was he, the Juggernaut, right?
He used to wrestle as the Juggernaut in a promotion called Cleveland Wrestling Alliance, which is notoriously bad. They ran shows, most notably in the Kmart parking lot on West 65th Street in Cleveland, Ohio. Very embarrassing stuff. But
to who, though? I mean, I bet.
Not to them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet to the guys that performed.
Yeah.
That's a high-quality main event WrestleMania level type shit.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, in a parking lot, though, you could get a lot of people.
They didn't.
Oh.
They did.
I never went to one of the shows. But I've been to parking lot shows before. I've worked in a parking lot.
I've worked in a parking lot,
many parking
too.
lots.
Sure.
I remember out in PA one time, it was like Arena Football League. That was hype because all the fans there were there to see the football game, but before kickoff, they were outside watching the wrestling.
Yeah.
I think I managed J-Rock, the Big Daddy of Destruction, against John McChesney.
Give it up one time. One time for J-Rock Daddy. I'm not a fan of the J-Rock.
Yeah, right.
I guess we're on high and by terms now. We shake hands occasionally, but I'm still not a fan of the man, if I'm being transparent here. I do continually.
Why you gotta start the podcast off like that?
I'm not.
Video version.
Listen, I'm just saying. J-Rock is a local yokel. He's done some things, but we did have a confrontation once, me and the J-Rock Daddy, and his catchphrase has always been to give it up one time. You have to do this when you give it up one time. One time for J-Rock Daddy. And so, because I wasn't particularly fond of him, I would often, as a bad guy, yell, and I still do, give it up one time. And one time he confronted me in a locker room about it. He waited till everybody left, and he left one person to watch this, to be a sort of a witness, and he wanted me to basically apologize to him for various things that I had said about him and for taking his catchphrase. He said, "Daddy, I know you've been stealing my catchphrase." And I said...
That's not even true, is it?
I'm not kidding. And
he called you daddy?
He didn't say daddy, but I added that.
Okay.
And but I was unlacing my boot because I'm not afraid of J-Rock, and I said, well, you know, if I'm being honest, Jerry, no one knows that's your catchphrase, so they think it's mine because I say it all the time because, you know, no one knows who you are. And then he got even madder, and it became a whole thing. But in the end, based on things that he had said in the past about myself and Johnny Gargano, he ended up apologizing to me. But, yeah, we're cordial now. Not trying to bury the guy. He's done some stuff. He's trained some notable guys, had a hand at least in training some notable guys like Ray Rowe and Shane Taylor. But, you know, all the best luck to him. But I will still continue to give it up one time for me. So that's my...
Say what you want, but I'll tell you what. I always enjoyed working with J-Rock, and I always enjoyed working with you. And I want you both to be my friends forever.
Wow. Hey, could you tell the audience about yourself, though?
Oh. Well, it all started when I was born.
Please start from the wrestling portion.
Oh.
What have you done in wrestling?
I've done some wrestling stuff. I was... I think most notably probably commentating is what I'm most known for.
Yeah.
I did commentary for the Pro Wrestling Ohio television show that Gregory was talking about. It eventually became Prime Wrestling. Absolute Intense Wrestling, AIW, was a place that I was a big part of, I think, for a long time. Backstage, and on stage, and then I don't know, a bunch of other places. I've done little things here and there and big things here and there, but I'm just a man trying to do a podcast.
Yeah.
This is uncharted territory. So I don't know anybody if this is going to catch on, this whole podcast, especially like a wrestling podcast. But
The camera's not on anymore over here.
okay.
It just went off.
So
Is this camera still on?
Yeah, it was on.
All right, so I'll just keep talking for a second while Sean works on this.
talkie.
We can always edit this for the regular version, but then for Patreon, you can see the production fumbles that we're having here as we experience. It's still on?
Yeah.
It never went off?
No, I mean, I turned it off and turned it back on. It's still, I mean, it's working again.
Hey, and also, okay, so we're starting all over again from the top, okay? guys?
No,
Ready?
we're not starting from the
3,
top.
2, 1. Oh, shit. My bad. We don't say one in the business. So ready? 3, 2.
I'm ready to go back to just audio.
Pardon the interruption.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, the Hard Foundation back in the building, huh? You and me?
What?
No?
Why are we the Heart Foundation?
We're not the Heart Foundation. We're the Hard Foundation.
Oh, the Hard Foundation.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're 3 dudes that are hard. As fuck.
Okay, yeah.
As heck.
Yeah.
Huh? We got Flash over here.
I can only imagine once this guy's mic'd up, the things he's going to be saying about what an actual moron you are.
Huh? I'm just worried because this is the video version, and his name's Flash. Dick juice everywhere.
That's not.
I
Wow.
hope not, but it could happen.
Well, Aaron, with the video version now,
Now it's showing.
besides you being a moron, what can the audience expect going forward?
Well, I have some insight on some things, and I have some opinions on some stuff.
Yeah.
But look, wrestling, I hate wrestling a lot of times.
Hmm.
It's gotten a lot better for me lately. I've been enjoying some things. But, you know, I would also like to talk about other stuff, you know, besides wrestling.
Yeah, and we'll be doing that for sure.
Yeah.
I think the goal here is we're still going to provide the long form content of the podcast, right? Except for it's in video version, but we're also going to make it in a way to where we can kind of chop up the videos into little snippets for social media and YouTube and.
I'm sorry, what's that technical term again?
Snidbits?
Snidbit?
Is that how you say it?
I don't even think that's a real word.
Snippets? Snippets.
Snippet, yeah, that's
That makes more sense.
Tidbits?
Snippets.
Snippet.
Tidbits.
Snippet.
I mixed 2 words
Snippet,
together.
yeah.
It's fine.
Oh,
Listen.
my God, like foreskin.
I don't know if I mentioned this. I have cerebral palsy, which is technically
Yes.
brain damage from birth. So
So are
Give
you
me some slack here.
uncircumcised?
that has nothing to do with it.
I didn't ask if it had something to do with it. I asked if you were uncircumcised.
So just a completely unrelated question.
Can you just tell us?
I'm
Well, it's a video podcast.
Yeah, or you can show
I'm
us.
not
One or
gonna-
the other.
I am circumcised.
Oh.
Though
Was
I
it
have-
after you fell on your penis and bled?
That's a whole other podcast.
Can we
But
talk about that?
I will say this though. I did watch some documentaries in the past about circumcision that make me question if I had a child, if it would be something that I would want to do, because I mean it's like not really a clean thing as much as it's for just, you know, like religious purposes. And I'm not the most religious guy. I'm not going to go into it, but I don't know, like, if there's really no cleanliness reason for it. I just don't know if it's necessary to chop a child's dong. And don't get me started
You know,
about
here I was thinking we were going to be the Hard Foundation, but now I'm thinking we should be the Foreskin Horsemen. What do you guys think?
I like ball.
Ah, yeah.
Somehow there's going to be guys that are just going to
Jerk
latch
off.
onto that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of a sudden,
here we go.
that's going to become a thing, much like alpacas have become the mascot of the show. Sniffing mustaches became a thing. It really, with the original podcast, it was all inside jokes. Perhaps we should explain those instead of waiting like 100 weeks like we did originally real quick so the audience knows. Alpacas.
Okay.
Why are they a part of the show?
Alpacas are a part of the show because, well, Gregory and I work together in a facility for individuals with developmental disabilities.
I don't know why it took you so long to say that,
Yeah.
as if you were going to say something
I would
terrible.
probably say something wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got to be P's and Q's here and cross the I's and dot the T's, lowercase J's.
There you go.
know what the fuck I'm saying.
Wayne's World.
Yeah. So, we work at this center, and there was a guy who went on a field trip to an alpaca farm.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead, Greg, tell us what happened.
So he comes to me, we have this interaction, and, you know, I kind of would always encourage him to just keep saying ridiculous stuff because it's entertaining. He was a funny kid. And so he would say something, and I'd be like, oh, and then what happened? Oh, yeah, and then what happened? Yeah, and then what happened after that? So he walks up to me and goes...
And he would gradually get more explicit with the stories,
He
though.
would get more explicit and more ridiculous.
Because he was, you know, for example, well, my mom woke me up this morning. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And then what?
Yeah, and then what happened?
Well, then she put a crack pipe in my mouth and made me smoke crack for the first time. Well, huh? Yeah, and then I told that bitch, make me a Pop-Tart.
And we should be laughing because, like, you know, typically...
Well, that's funny.
Wait, so,
We're allowed to
but
laugh.
what I'm saying is, like you know, if a kid came to me and said, like, yeah, my mom put a crack pipe in my mouth, like, I am actually a designated reporter because I speak in school, so, like, I have to tell, like, if you tell me that, I have to go tell someone, like, yo, he said his mom stick a crack pipe in his mouth, so, like, maybe you should check into that. But I think people were realizing that, you know, he was just sensationalizing these stories just because he would laugh after.
He watched the show Cops every night.
Yes,
So
that was his favorite
usually
program.
his stories were somehow intertwined with whatever he had watched on Cops from the night before.
However, I don't think this story about alpacas was something he saw on Cops.
Go ahead, yes.
So
he went on a
walks up
field
to me-
trip to the alpaca farm.
I'm like, so-and-so, what'd you do today? Went to the alpaca farm. It was fun. And I was like, oh, yeah? What'd you see at the alpaca farm? A bunch of alpacas. And then a motherfucking alpaca came up to me and said, hey, can I sniff your mustache for $5? And I started cracking up laughing because I was like, how is that even that didn't happen. I was like, what? Really? An alpaca asked you if they could sniff your mustache for $5? He's like, yeah. I'm like, and then what'd you do? He's like, I said, fuck no, get away from me. You can't sniff my mustache for $5. And I was like, okay. And then so
hold on. Then, now I'm in a different area than Greg was at the time. So, like, I was working somewhere else, and Greg sought me out. And he was like, I had to come find you. And I have to tell you this. And then, hold on. I can only tell you a little bit, and then I got to let so-and-so tell you the rest of it, his version.
Yeah.
So it was magic.
So that's one of the inside jokes of the show is the alpaca and sniffing mustaches for $5. So
And we pulled that out of our asses, like on, the first season. Within the first few episodes, we just started talking that stuff. And people caught on, and people started sending us mustaches and $5.
But we never even explained it.
Yeah, for what? The first 2 years?
Right.
3 years?
It wasn't that long. But
7?
Because my thing off air was always like, yo, you keep saying this stupid shit, and, like, we're not explaining why this is happening. But, like, literally no one cared.
Yeah.
Rod Destiny has been a fixture on the show almost since the inception because he was your trainer. And for months and months and months, for me, because he trained you in the 90s, I never came across Rod. He basically left the business before I started in 2006. He became this mythical figure for me, but also for the audience. And when we eventually got him on the show, not only was it one of our most downloaded episodes, but he gave us more inside jokes. Like one of the things that we talked about in the past, how is he made the new national anthem.
Yeah.
Proud to be American at a indie show that you were a part of. But just when he was on the show,
right.
And I'm sure we'll delve back into these stories now that we have video in long form at some point. The thing that sticks out from the interview with Rod not only was how insightful he was, and he wasn't as hey bro as I thought he would be.
Oh, yeah, that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Because we started saying, hey bro, hey bro.
There you go.
Hey bro.
Yeah.
All the time on the podcast because that's how Rod would open every statement that he made. Also, Greg's trainer, JT Lightning, would open every statement with...
Dude. Hey, dude.
Yeah,
What
so
the
it
fuck,
was
dude?
like dude and bro.
Yeah.
Dude and bro all the time.
One of the things that we got out of the interview from Rod was him trying to explain something and saying, and then in that moment it came to frustration. And yeah, obviously he was trying to say came to fruition. And I remember that moment.
Man, I'm glad you know that word now.
What?
Fruition, because I don't know it anymore. All I know is frustration.
I know.
Because that's,
I had to stop and think about it for a second.
Yes.
But like in that moment, Aaron and I looked at each other because it was going so well and it was more insightful than I thought. And we had this, and then like, we didn't think he'd say it again. But he said it at least one more time.
Maybe tripled down on frustration.
So frustration became a thing, and we've sold quite a few shirts of it on ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron.
Everybody messes up talking, so it's funny.
Yeah.
Right. But we just didn't expect it to become part of our like everyday language now.
Yeah.
Like I use it at work and stuff. I'll say it, and I'll say it like knowing that I'm working. Like I know the jokes in my head. Greg's not there. Flash Robbins ain't there.
Yeah.
None of the people that are patrons are there. But I'm just saying it and popping myself about frustration.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff that we can get into at some point. But, I mean, that's sort of the gist of it. We're just...
Hey, tell everybody about the time that girl gave you that, I don't know, what social disease or whatever?
That's not a real thing.
And you had to ask her, like, hey, can I get my money back? I didn't pay for it.
I have no diseases. I've never paid for a prostitute.
Is cerebral palsy a disease?
It is... It's an affliction. It is an affliction
like
that I
the
was
shirts
born
you
with.
wear.
That is
you
not
guys
true.
don't know this, but Greg has a tremendous collection of affliction
That's
shirts.
no.
And we're going to get into that.
No, when affliction
we'll go down
shirts,
to his closet.
No,
because I hear he keeps
shut the
it in
fuck
his
up.
closet.
When affliction
And
shirts,
then he'll come out and show us.
When affliction shirts and Ed Hardy shirts became popular, in that moment I said, in like 5 years, everybody wearing this shiny, sparkly, printed all over shit is going to really regret it. Like it's not going to age well, and I was right. Everyone from like the 2010s that wore that looked like assholes.
They looked like it then. They look like it now.
They never looked cool in that moment.
I know. I never thought it looked cool either. But you got like Jerry Lawler still wears that.
Ugh.
And dude, Jerry Lawler and I are from the same neighborhood in real life. So what?
Seems like a bit of an exation.
No, Lorraine.
That's
Lawler was
that's
born
a city. It's not.
Well, yeah, it's the same hood. All right, my dad lived either on the same street or the street over.
You guys are not from the same neighborhood. Okay, let's make that perfectly clear.
We
Though
are.
Jerry Lawler
It's
is
2 streets away. It's 1 or 2 streets. It's either the same street or the street over. So either the
okay. We're gonna have to. We're gonna figure this out.
Okay,
and
let's
how much
get Jerry
you're
on the
lying.
show.
I don't
Which
know.
Jerry would you rather have on the show? Lawler, Rock, Jerry Rock. What was it? J Rock.
Jerry Rock.
Jerry Rock. I like that name.
Yeah.
Or podcast superstar Jerry. Now there's 3 choices there. You son of a bitch.
I'm not going to
Pick
say
one.
my favorite choice, but I'll say the most likely choice to be on the show regularly would be podcast superstar Jerry. I don't know if he's going to make the trip all the way out to Parma, Ohio now, but we can see.
Once I get the alternate location set up, you won't know where it is.
Okay, that seems counterproductive to the show. But anyways,
Nope. It's going to be great. We'll go simulcast one day.
We've got a lot of great stuff in store for you on this new video version of the show. The same
got
great
some
Iron
great
On
stuff.
Wrestling podcast, but now in high def, I guess.
HD?
Yeah, so just make sure, hey, listen, if you like what you're hearing on the show, make sure you subscribe to iTunes, wherever you download podcasts. Subscribe to us on YouTube, of course, at Iron On Wrestling. Hit the like button, and, of course, subscribe and make sure you get all those notifications when we upload a new video. And, of course, if you want extended and bonus content from the show, you're going to want to go to patreon.com/Iron On Wrestling, where you get a buttload of bonus content starting at $3. That's where you'll get all the audio. So all that archive stuff that we've talked about, probably close to 400 episodes, including bonus episodes over there, you get with the $3 tier, but also at the $5 tier, you'll get some old videos that we have there, but also the new videos.
We'll sniff your mustache.
We'll sniff your mustache.
$5.
But also you're going to get the video content, of course. You'll get extra video content from the show now, since we're creating more new original video content than ever. If you go up to the $9 tier, you can pick subjects for the show, but also your questions get answered first and foremost on the show. And it's really the favorited tier because we do Zoom chats once a month with Patreon subscribers, where we talk for at least an hour about things that you will never hear recorded on the show. Stories, information, and it's kind
I
of like...
tell a story about how I did coke with New Jack.
Yeah, he's told that on the regular show.
Yeah, but I tell it there too.
Also, he's like never on the Zoom chats. He just seemed not to ever
I'd like
be available
to be.
for him.
I don't understand. I don't get a text about it. Am I looking into any cameras right now?
This is a camera.
But
right
is it
there.
on?
It's on.
Oh, cool.
Yes, it's watching you. And there's more and more tiers that you can be a part on over on patreon.com/Iron Wrestling, including you can get packages in the mail, the Howard Animal Steel package that we send out quarterly. And, of course, if you go up way high, you can be in studio with us live, baby, live. So check it out, patreon.com/Iron Wrestling for all those extra goodies. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to show Aaron one of my favorite wrestling commercials. Hey, Aaron, why are you wearing this shirt?
I went through my closet, and I could not find one really good shirt with a good shirt design. But if I had a shirt that I could pick any shirt in the whole world that I would wear a shirt that had maybe this band, Metallica, but I want the drummer and the bass player on a cloud in heaven because their granddaddy passed away.
Okay.
And then on this cloud, there's a second cloud, and it's James Hetfield and Matt Justice. And they have fishing poles. They've been fishing. I would have to find someone that could design that kind of a shirt.
You know, if you do need a better t-shirt design, you should probably contact Juan Ortiz and Up the Dead Designs. He's a good buddy. He's been in the industry for over 15 years, and he's made some t-shirt designs for the most prolific people within professional wrestling.
Ellsworth?
No, he has not made a design for James Ellsworth. But he has made designs for Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Seth Rollins, Undertaker. He's even made shirts and stuff for Iron Wrestling. Check out this sweet logo. Hey, Sean, edit in that picture of our new logo with Aaron and myself on clouds with fishing poles. If you need a t-shirt design, a logo for your small business or your big business, or if you want to win over a girl, I've never done that before. If you mention Iron on Wrestling sent you, and you follow his new social media at Of the Dead Designs on Instagram, he's going to knock off $20 in his already cheap prices. Go to Of the Dead Designs on Instagram.
Weebly.
Go to his Facebook at facebook.com/Of the Dead Designs, or go to his website, ofthedead.weebly.com, because Of the Dead Designs is bringing your artwork to life. Hey, welcome back, and you're watching Iron on Wrestling, and wrestling is a key word in the channel, right? And one thing that coincides with wrestling very well is working out, physiques, body guys. And, of course, when you're making commercials in professional wrestling, you're going to... Why? That has nothing... What?
Huh? You said it was a workout podcast. That's how I work out.
I didn't say it was a workout podcast. Working out coincides with wrestling and good physiques.
So that's what I was doing there.
What is that exercise? What would you call that?
Mobility. A lot of that. You got to get right in the hip flexors. You got when you.
So
I think I'm scratching the floor,
with
dog.
Professional wrestling and working out and creating advertisements, you could imagine that over the years there's been a few wrestling-related commercials, and I've actually pulled some of those up today for us to look at and review. What do you say, Aaron?
Yeah.
You want to do that?
As the indie wrestlers say these days, I'm all in.
Okay. All right. Do they say that?
No.
Okay.
They might say I'm all elite.
This first commercial...
Commercials!
This first commercial, Aaron, I think is going to be near and dear to your heart. Take a look.
Hey, how can I get muscles like like you guys.
It's Mr. Wonderful. Yep.
Mr. Wonderful.
You can start by getting in shape with the Hulkamania workout set.
I had it.
It's got everything you need. Head and wristband. A jump rope for warming up. A hand gripper for power. Dumbbells for strength. An exercise poster. And even Hulk's own workout tape.
The Hulkamania workout set. You from LJN.
Are you in shape yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go.
Oh, man. So here's the whole deal with that. For me personally, when I got, I want to say it was tax time. So I think I was in third grade, and it was tax return time. And my mom got the tax return and said, okay, I got to go to the store, Hills department store, pick out one thing there. Well, I chose the Hulkamania workout set. Man, I could not have been happier, and I wish I still had that thing today, but I wore the shit out of that tape. I mean, the tape, you play the tape, and Hulk Hogan would come on, and he'd go, hey, Hulkamaniacs, this is Hulk Hogan. I'm 6'7", 3 inches from heaven. I weigh 305, and I can whoop any man alive. And then the song came on, you know, the one where he's running through the streets.
The one from Rocket
Hulk.
Wrestling?
Hulk, yes, yeah, the theme for Rocket Wrestling, and I listen to that all the time. I work out those hand gripper things. Oh,
Did he give you like workout instructions in the tape? Because I've never heard it.
I think it was more motivation.
Okay.
And I honestly can't remember him talking
Because,
much
you know,
other than that 305 whoop any man alive.
I might have to look into it then,
Yeah.
because I feel like we can probably get away with him talking and playing the audio and listening to that back at some point on the podcast.
No, I just did it.
I think Hulk Hogan's would be better.
Okay,
And there
yeah.
would probably be a lot of lies riddled throughout it. But the cassette tape, you can get on the internet for like $9.
Oh.
How much do you think the whole Hulkamania workout set is going for today in 2023?
Hold on. So you said just the cassette tape is $9?
Yeah.
So then the whole workout, I would say, tack on another $60, I guess.
No. I see what you did there, though. The cheapest I can find it right now on the internet, complete,
Right here, right now?
is $499.99 or best offer.
Well, the best offer is then $4. Put that in there right now. See what he says.
No, I'm not going to do that. Like I've talked about it on the show in the past. I've been building this gym in my basement, and it's pretty sweet right now. Mostly now it's decorations that I'm putting up, but I just wanted to get the workout poster. The poster by itself is like $200 on the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. But so in the workout set, as they stated in the commercial, you get it's a dumbbell workout set.
You're a dumbbell.
Okay. So you get 2 dumbbells, a Hulkster bandana or a sweatband, which I actually have. Johnny Gargano bought it for me for Christmas. What a pal. And you get the tape. And I don't know. I think we got to review the tape on the show sometime. But why didn't they get Hulk Hogan to be in the workout commercial? Why did they get Paul Orndorff?
Setting up the angle, brother.
You think the commercial coincided with the angle? I mean, I know they
I
were
do.
friends, but...
Right, and then because he brought it up, I had to be in the commercial because you were too busy working out. I'm Mr. Wonderful.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't know that they set it up that way, but it was
Okay.
part of the storyline.
So you're just making
I mean,
up shit.
how would I know? I wasn't in the WWF.
You were watching the program.
Yeah, but I don't know the behind the scenes, if that's why they set it up like that, why he was in the commercial.
Anyways, here's a commercial that I've never seen.
Mr. Wonderful looked good in that commercial, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he always looked good.
Right?
Yeah, until his arm and hand started getting real weird. And if there's one thing I can't stand, it's someone with a weird-looking arm and hand. So we're going to go to the next commercial that I found on YouTube entitled Ric Flair Rescues James Ellsworth Failing Workout with a Snickers Bar. Let's watch it.
It was Shawn Blaze.
I bet you that's how he actually
I think he works out. Probably
Hey,
on
honey,
his
you
phone.
all right? Have a Snickers. Better?
Better.
Snickers satisfies.
I remember.
Do this!
I think you need one of these.
And I tell you what, that Ashley Flair,
Why'd
that's
you call
my
her
favorite
Ashley
version.
like you knew her on a first name basis?
Because I forgot her name was Charlotte. Why did that happen?
I don't know.
How did I become on a first name basis with her? I've never met her.
Yeah, you never will either. I'm pretty confident in saying that.
I wouldn't know her if I saw her.
Well, that commercial was interesting. Funny thing, though, I've never seen James Ellsworth work out, but the only person I've ever seen try to bench press like that, sorry to bury you, pal, Joe Dombrowski. One time.
You saw Joe Dombrowski bench press?
Ring announcer Joe Dombrowski. So one time.
Ring announcer.
Well, ring announcer, commentator, Joe Dombrowski. He's doing AAA right
Shyster.
now. He's not a shyster.
No? Okay.
Also, I don't know if you could say shyster. We can consult our producer here, Sean. Will we get canceled for saying
Is that
shyster?
a term for illegal aliens or anything?
It's about Jewish people.
Okay.
All right, so that's religion, right? That's not, is it Judaism?
Because we
so
know
we're good or no?
I don't think we. I don't think we are. But you know what? We're not going to edit it. because
Earlier
we're-
you said black people. Now is that okay to say?
I didn't say that. I don't know.
Somebody says something about.
I feel like I could say black people, but
Can we say shyster?
okay.
And then the first thing says shyster is anti-Semitic.
Okay, so we're going to apologize right now for that.
No. Here's who I was talking about.
What?
Irwin R.
Okay, so that makes more sense.
Yeah, a lot. I thought
Dollars
Joe
and
Dombrowski was really Irwin R. Shyster.
Let's just
Like how James Ellsworth was Charlotte Flair.
let's
yes, the
just
Snicker bar.
move on from that. What I was going to say though is Joe Dombrowski expressed interest to get in better shape back in like 2008, and Johnny Gargano and myself were like, you know what, we're going to help you with that. And then we took him upstairs into our living room gym, my living room gym, because I lived upstairs from Gargano. And I mean, he had the bar like, I think it had like 25 pounds on each side. So it was like a 95, 100 pounds. He couldn't move it. So then we took it down to like 10s on each side. He couldn't move it. And then we took it down to 5s on each side, and he couldn't move it. And so then we're like, okay, you know what? Let's just start with the bar. And so he was able to lift the bar, but then it was like just spaghetti.
Was he working?
No, he was not. And so we're like, he got it up like once while doing that, and we're like, all right, you know what? We'll come back to this. And but you know, good effort. It was awkward. Love you, Joe. But it clearly working out.
Watching.
He might be.
He doesn't like you. I was just talking to him last night before, maybe. Yeah, night before last. About 3 a.m. We were having a conversation, but we were going over production stuff. And he goes, "You know who I really don't like?" And I said, "Who's that?" He goes, "Oh, that Gregory Iron."
Let me play you this Ico Pro commercial.
All right.
This might be my favorite one. Stand by.
No consideration paid for by the following.
Rocking way too much on that.
That's terrible form. That's why it's my favorite. So like, what? Do you remember that one?
Yeah, but I wasn't criticizing Razor Ramon's pump back then. Now I'm like, that's god awful. You can't do that.
I've always watched that, and he's like lifting. He's doing the curls with his back. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it's crazy.
Did you ever see an episode of I think it was Family Guy, and the main guy in it, the guy that you wrestled or introduced into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So this guy comes out, he's telling his daughter, no, you don't want to do that. When you lift something, you always want to make sure you use your back. You got to lift with your back, and that's what that made me think of.
Yeah, just not good. And he's got a toothpick in his mouth. What if he falls forward while he's doing
yeah,
it?
because he's rocking so dang hard. Darn. What can we say?
We could say darn for sure.
Is that's not a racial epitaph? Thank you. That's why we got the Flash here. He's so quick.
I don't know what to expect here with this Tatanka Ico Pro commercial. Let's see. He's not. He just did it. He showed him. No, he didn't do it while he was lifting. That one sucked. I hate that commercial.
Well, did you want Tatanka to speak?
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't really known as a good promo.
You gotta want it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you say in the Ico Pro commercial.
Was it that bad that they had to edit that out? Like,
maybe. I don't know if Tatanka was
take
known for his
90-12.
Hey, but
No, okay.
I will say this though, Tatanka is one of those few older guys in wrestling that man, he wants to bust ass when he's on a show. Like he'll go 20, 30 minutes, bump around like he.
Bro, 20 years ago when they brought him back to SmackDown for one night only or something like that, I thought he was getting a full-time job.
He did.
Well, then they brought him back again, and I thought he was getting another full-time job.
They re-signed him for like at least a year.
Yeah. And then what happened?
Then they released him.
Yeah. So he should come back. You know what Tatanka means?
Buffalo.
How do you know that?
I know that from WrestleMania, the album, which we will talk about in another segment.
I know we're doing stuff here, but let me ask you something. So throughout your life, how many times has wrestling been a source of knowledge for you for something?
Always.
Yeah. So, like, I remember I won Trivia Pursuit in, I want to say it was like 6th grade. 6th grade, I won Trivia Pursuit in the school because the final question was, Stone Mountain is a city known for its blah, 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 blah. In what state? And immediately.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
As soon as I said Georgia, and I didn't hesitate, you know, because I knew I do Stone Mountain, Georgia. So I was like, Georgia. And it was for the win. I got the piece of the pie or whatever that shit is, and I stood up and I was all victorious, and people thought I cheated. Because they're like, how would you know Stone Mountain, Georgia? And I said, pro wrestling.
That's very sad. But, you know, it's not sad.
Oh, your mom? No.
She's deceased. So, this rare Triple H Weider Nutrition commercial from, I want to say, 2000?
It just matter.
If only I were a little stronger, I could get that extra yard. I could hit for extra power.
I could even be Triple H of the WWF.
Don't bet on it, kid.
Triple H, what are you doing here?
Just brushing up on a little history.
But that's not important.
You just
What's
missed the best
important
part.
is results. And Dynamic Muscle Builder from Weider Sports Nutrition can help you get there. Dynamic Muscle Builder is packed with essential high-quality proteins, carbs, and amino acids that help to nourish your muscles. Get results.
Okay.
Hey, so are they still in business?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think this is a time-tested product? Do you think it was like an Ico Pro that was there for a couple years and then gone?
No, I think
This is a real deal,
Weider
huh?
Nutrition is still a thing, but I think
I only know TNT Health.
cheap plug. Did you miss the most
With
ridiculous part?
the woman that came in?
Yes.
Yeah, and she said...
So here's this high school kid who's clearly not a high school kid, but he's posing as a high school kid who wants to be just like Triple H. And then Triple H is in this kid's school locker room. Shirtless.
Tight jeans.
Just got done banging the history teacher?
Yeah.
What?
That I don't see a problem with.
You don't see that a problem.
Triple H was the disciplinarian. Of course he's going to bang out the teachers. Don't you remember that? He had the board of education. Is that right?
Yeah.
Was that a Drew Carey episode?
That's from an episode
Yeah,
of Drew
well, of
Carey.
course he's out there banging all the teachers.
Jesus.
A couple of the maintenance guys I saw.
So, like, I think the mindset with this was, like, marketed to a kid like me when I saw this when I was 13. Like, wow.
I can't wait to bang Mr. Krebs, the science teacher.
That was definitely not.
That wasn't you guys?
No.
Flash?
Seemed more plausible than the super hot history teacher.
I never had a hot teacher. Sorry to any teachers who thought you may have been hot or might have thought I might
I
have.
don't know if they're like, these kids are going to think I'm super hot.
Yes! Don't you read stories about that all the time? These teachers are fucking everybody. All the students.
Yeah.
Like another teacher can't get no pussy, but she's giving it up to the student in the class.
Yeah. And then, of course, you got everybody that goes on social media that goes like, Where were those teachers when I was in school? Like, okay,
Well,
real
guess
original
what?
comment,
I
buddy.
didn't want to fuck none of the teachers, except maybe Mr. Krebs. God rest his soul.
Oh, my God. How old was he?
He had to be in his 80s when he was teaching. He was either math or science.
Oh, boy.
But his name was Krebs. You sound like, you know what I mean? You just sound like like a Mr. Burns.
I don't know, man. That's just, I just feel like none of these wrestling commercials are that great. Razor has bad form. Triple H is sending a bad message to the youth.
Triple H, absolute stud.
Tatanka can't even say anything about the Ico Pro
That's
product.
because he's not from America.
He's a Native American.
They said he was an Indian. I mean, people that are Indian are from India. Am I right?
I'd like to say that we're going to watch more commercials involving wrestling and wrestlers in the future, but I don't know after the way Aaron's acting.
I want to see a couple with Sonny in them.
Do you have any favorite wrestling commercials? Let us know in the comments below. That's what the kids do, right? Like, subscribe to the channel, and tell us your favorite professional wrestling-related commercials. What's your favorite workout commercial? Is it Ico Pro? Is it Razor Ramon with bad form? I don't know.
Is there one that we didn't show that you have a personal favorite of?
Yeah, tell us all about it. Also, do you have the Hulkamania workout set, and can you sell it to us for cheap?
I just put a message out to someone that I used to know. I used to be married to this person's family or whatever, so I'm going to see if I can still pull some strings and see if I can at least get the workout set on our set to borrow for a day, and then we could try to work it out.
Well, we'll see what happens. That was an awkward way to say that. A person that you're in their family, married to them.
Yeah, my ex-wife's cousin. So maybe that's an easier way to say that. One of my ex-wife's cousins.
All right. Well,
one of my ex-cousin's wives. One of my cousin's ex-wives.
Check out some of the other videos we have in the archives too. We'll be back right after this.
Sir, hello. Dude, they work on guy.
What are you doing? Why are you acting like Razor Ramon with his bad form in the Ico Pro commercial?
You talking to me, man? Carve you up.
Talk like a normal person.
Oh, I'm here because I'm working out. Oh, from TNT Health, baby. Have you tried it?
We know that Aaron's tried it. In fact, since the start of the year, Aaron's lost over 50 pounds while using supplements from TNT-Health.com. TNT Health is focused on your overall comprehensive health. They help track your eating, your workouts, and your supplements. TNT Health sells results. I use the creatine, the glutamine, and you think that I'm not using the protein powder? With 154 calories and 25 grams of protein per scoop, I assure you, the vanilla protein powder is great with or without water.
That's how you take your protein? Don't you... Water, dude.
You know, maybe Aaron's right. Use it with water or milk. Go to TNT-Health.com right now, buy any of their great products and save 10% off with our promo code IRONON.
TNT Health.
Your health today,
not tomorrow.
Welcome back to Iron on Wrestling on YouTube. And there's been a lot of notorious liars in the history of professional wrestling. But one far surpasses all of them. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Hulk Hogan's Lie of the Week. Hulk Hogan's Lie of the Week is back again, and even though every other podcast has been stealing this bit that we've been doing for 4 years, we're going to still keep at it. So, Aaron, have you heard about this latest Hulk Hogan Lie?
No.
Well, you're going to hear about it now because I'm going to play it for you. Hulk Hogan recently made an appearance on a show with a lady based out of the UK. She came to his Florida beach shop, and they had this little interview with this little snippet.
Hey,
What?
You can't say that.
I just did. So we're going to play this video for you right now.
You were telling me earlier, before we started rolling,
Yeah.
you brought Simon Cowell to the United States.
Well, he came to help with the wrestling albums. I was, long story, I'll make it short. I was in Wembley Stadium and I saw a lot of Make-A-Wish kids. It was me, Michael Jackson, Mr. T, who saw all the Make-A-Wish kids during the 80s and 90s. I had a kid there that was in rough shape. The EMTs were with him and he was on a stretcher, and you know, his body odor and stuff, it had a smell to it that I hadn't smelled in a while. Not bad, but it was just a different type of smell. And I really wasn't sure what it was, and the parents were freaking out. They were Hulkamaniacs, and I told the doctors and the EMTs, you know, the kid's in kind of trouble here, you know, so let me say my goodbyes and give him a hug and kiss him. And I got a nice place for him out at ringside at Wembley Stadium. It's all roped off. So I went to wrestle, and I kept looking, and the kid wasn't there. So when I came back from wrestling, I was the last person to wrestle the main event. I said, what happened to the family out there? And they said, oh, the kid passed away. So when I found out the kid passed away, my manager, Jimmy Hart, Mouth of the South, he used to be in a band too. And he had a couple #1 hit songs here in the States. And I played music before. So we stayed up all night and we wrote 12 songs for the kid's family. And I didn't know anybody in the UK. And Jimmy knew somebody from Select Records, and they got a hold of Simon Cowell. He produced a little album for us, and I went #1 on Billboard for 8 weeks. So we donated the money to the family. And then Simon came back to me and said we need to do the song with a band called Green Jelly over in the UK, and something called Leader of the Gang, a Gary Glitter song. And so that did really well on Billboard too. So when I came back to the States, I had the crazy idea, since I was wrestling, maybe we should do music here. So I grabbed Cyndi Lauper and Rick Derringer and a bunch of people, and we recut a bunch of songs, Land of a Thousand Dances and stuff. And Simon came over and helped produce the wrestling album. Then he came and produced the second wrestling album, Pile Driver, and he never left. He stayed here and he became this monster producer and nicest guy in the world. He plays a tough guy on TV, but he's a real sweetheart.
Yeah?
In person, he's a really nice guy. So it's amazing, because I watch him on America's Got Talent, you know.
So it's all a pantomime, is it?
Well, he's doing the character, you know. He's doing the Simon Cowell up there, you know,
tight pants there.
The stern face, but in real life, he's a real sweetheart.
All right, that's enough. I just feel like there's so much to talk about in this 1 2-minute and 35-second.
Is it a lie, or is it just he misremembers the order of occurrences?
Let's start from the top.
Yep.
So he's hanging out at Wembley Stadium, which we've covered before. He's going to wrestle in the main event that night.
Right, against British Bulldog.
He never mentions, actually. I would like someone to interview Hulk Hogan and talk to him about the time he main evented at Wembley and ask him who his opponent was.
Bret Hart, wasn't it? Against British Bulldog?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
You asshole. You know that's the case. I want someone to ask Hulk Hogan who exactly he wrestled at Wembley Stadium when he main evented, because he's never wrestled at Wembley. We've talked about it.
Advocate here. Maybe he wrestled in a different stadium in England, or maybe he wrestled somewhere else called like Wembley Stadium.
He's wrestled at Wembley Arena when he was in Wembley Arena when he was in WCW.
Okay.
But he's made it clear that he wrestled for the WWF, and it was in front of, like 80,000 people. So Wembley Arena does not store that many people.
All right.
Secondly,
okay,
this kid that's dying. This is the first time that he said the kid was on a stretcher in the back. And also, why even bring up the smell if he goes, the kid had a smell. Not a bad smell.
He was dead.
But I looked at the doctors. I said, hey, something's wrong here. So the doctors didn't know that this kid smelled like he was dying, apparently.
Yeah.
So Hulk Hogan had to be the one to be like, brother, smell him.
Yeah,
this
but
is not
Hogan
good.
didn't know that's the smell of death.
Not a bad smell.
Right, well, obviously not, but he
Not
didn't
as
know
good as
that was
Hulk
the
Hogan
smell of
cologne.
death, despite him body slamming Andre the Giant and Andre the Giant dying right after the
He
3
probably smelled it towards the end of that match at WrestleMania 3, actually.
count. Andre's ass?
The smell of death.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So when he body slammed Andre and killed him,
he recognized
he starts,
that.
oh, God, this might be that smell. Brother, where is he?
Yeah.
And then he's looking out.
Also,
the kid was on a stretcher. You thought he was going to be at ringside in a chair cheering you on? He was smelling of death?
I like how he had to mention, like, the parents, they were Hulkamaniacs. Like,
that's my favorite part.
Like, it had nothing to do with anything. So then, of course, while he was in the main event, he looked out to ringside and saw the chair was empty. Again, we've covered that part of the lie in depth before, and we've actually, if you go back in the archives, debunked the fact that he wrote those songs from the Hulk Hogan Wrestling Boot Band album in 1995. He wrote those songs about a kid whose story was in the newspaper that he read while he was in the UK. Why do we know this? Because even in the song, the lyrics go, I read it in the papers, I saw it on TV. We're talking, of course, Hulkster in Heaven. So why would he put those lyrics in the song if it was about a kid that he invited to Wembley? Also, why, coincidentally, was he with Mr. T and Michael Jackson in the back at Wembley? Why was that happening?
Did he say he was with them in the back?
He didn't say the back specifically,
Okay.
but he led you to believe that they were the three
him
people
and Mr.
there.
T and Michael Jackson
were
with the Make-A-Wish.
They were the one. They were the ones.
Maybe
that
they weren't all three together. Maybe they were in shifts. Maybe they were taking shifts.
Okay.
Like first Hogan comes out, and then once he sees the kids dying, then he goes to wrestle in the main event, and because the parents they're Hulkamaniacs, and then later on.
Anyways, the newest part of this lie, Simon Cowell. He's the one that got Simon Cowell on board with professional wrestling. So, according to Hulk, he produced a Hulk Hogan Wrestling Boot Band album. He did not. There is no production credit for Simon Cowell. Also, following the wrestling album, he claims that Simon Cowell helped him produce the Green Jelly song that he made, which came in 1993. So now we're going back
Hogan
in time.
made a song named Green Jelly?
Yeah, with the band Green Jelly, Leader of the Gang.
Yeah,
that's the name of the song, based off of a Gary Glitter song. Which Gary Glitter, that's a whole documentary that I want to watch at some point. Yikes! Just look him up. That song came out in '93. Yeah. So then he claims that after the success of those two songs that Simon produced, he did not. That he then brought him into the WWF to produce some albums for them. The first one of which was in 1993, WrestleMania, the album, which Hulk Hogan was not even on because he was not with the company. But then, after that, Simon was having so much fun that he went even further back in time, and Hulk decided to get Rick Derringer and Cyndi Lauper on board. And so they took their fucking DeLorean back to 1985, and Simon Cowell helped produce the wrestling album and the follow-up in '86, Pile Driver. I mean, honest to God, how does this man get away with this?
That clip's 2 minutes and 35 seconds.
That's all.
And so we have a lifetime. I mean, there could be a whole movie made of this. Just imagine this premise for a movie. Hulk Hogan needs to get somebody to produce music for wrestling in order for the rock and wrestling connection to actually happen. So he has to come up with a time machine so that he can teleport himself back in time, get these people that were in 80s wrestling, and then bring them to the forefront, but also grab the guy from America's Best Talented Person, and then everybody... I love it.
The real story is Simon Cowell wrote in his autobiography, I don't mean to be rude, but that he called Vince McMahon after reading in the newspaper that a WWF tour had sold out in Wembley Stadium in 27 minutes. That would be SummerSlam 92, which did not feature Hulk Hogan. Simon wrote, I read in a newspaper, kind of like Hulk Hogan read in the newspaper and saw on TV that there'll be a missing seat in Wembley. I read in a newspaper that the World Wrestling Federation had come over to tour Britain and sold out Wembley Stadium in 27 minutes. I knew that there were few music artists who would sell out an 80,000 arena in that amount of time. So I phoned up the boss of the WWF, Vince McMahon, and said, have you ever thought about making an album with your wrestlers? That album, of course, became the World Wrestling Federation Superstars WrestleMania, the album, which actually did get really high in the charts in the UK, unlike Hulk Hogan and the Wrestling Boot Band, which he claimed it was at the top of the kids' charts for a second. It was not. It didn't even get a number. So, yeah, Hulk Hogan, you're a liar. Do you have a favorite Hulk Hogan lie of the week? Let us know in the comments below. Perhaps we'll cover it on the show if we haven't already. There's been a lot of lies that he came out with recently on the Joe Rogan podcast that we'll be covering in the near future. So stick around. There are more Hulk Hogan lies to come, and maybe even some lies from some guys that, you might have forgot about in the wrestling business that were big liars. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for tuning into the show. But before we go,
good to see you.
Maybe you should have said at the beginning of the show. I don't know why you would say that now.
Well, it was good to see you.
Okay.
And we haven't seen our people in forever. There they are. Look, I see you out there, Juan of the Ortiz.
I wish you were.
There's you, Uncle Bobby.
I saw Uncle Bobby this weekend.
Yeah, how's he doing?
Good.
Hey, did you wrestle Scotty Too Hotty this weekend?
I did. I was gonna.
Did it actually happen?
Yeah, I brought it up a couple times on the show already.
Huh. Did you win?
So I wrestled Scotty Too Hotty at Empire State Wrestling, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know why I felt this way, but I had a lot of anxiety going into it. Maybe because I'm not wrestling as much, feeling really weird about it. And I think part of my reasoning was
that you're just not that good, or no different reason. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That's
Scotty is actually an incredible wrestler. And I know when he came back to the Indies, he was like, started a YouTube channel, and he was like cutting these promos about how, kind of like, yeah, it's something to prove. I was like, well, boy, I hope he doesn't have something to prove with me, because he's not going to get a great wrestling match out of me. Not a technical.
Have you been phoning it in?
No,
Or you're just out of shape? Not out of physical shape, but out of ring shape, kind of.
No, I'm just not known for my. I don't have an expert wrestling level like Scotty Too Hotty, so I was just hoping
entertaining matches.
Yes, that's fine. I didn't doubt that we would have like an entertaining match, but I was just like, oh man, I don't know how much he's going to want to do, and so we're talking about stuff, and he's cool guy, and great ideas, and one of the ideas we came up with was, he wanted me to jump him from behind, but he's like, actually, don't jump me from behind, because my neck. Which, understandable. He's been on the road a lot for a long time. No problem. We'll hit you from the side, blah, blah, blah. And I made sure to tell him, let's keep the heat short because it's weird, because I'm smaller than you and I have a disability. So if it goes too long, sometimes the heat is awkward. He's like, yeah, no problem. But I was like, oh, what should I do during the heat? Because I don't want to be really doing moves to him, like not crazy moves or anything. So at one point I said to him, because I was wondering what kind of match this is going to be, right? Because I knew it was going to be a lot of gaga. And at one point I said to him, hey, during the heat, you mind if I whip you and maybe give you a back elbow? He goes, my neck, no bumps. And I go, okay, I see what's happening here. So we're going to have a easy ride, and literally. I don't know the exact time we went out there, but I think his entrance was probably about 8 minutes.
Yeah.
My promo was about 3 or 4. I made sure, because I come out to Creed higher, that I started my promo by saying, hey, listen, stop cheering for Scotty, okay? Because the only Scott that matters is Scott Stapp from Creed, and he's not here right now.
Yes.
I challenged Scotty Too Hotty to a dance-off. He accepted. I did the worst dancing of all time, even purposely dancing horrible.
Worse than the time that you and Veda were dancing at that gangsta show?
That was not bad. That was not that bad. This was horrible because I edited a techno version of Creed's Higher to dance to. Yeah. It was a minute long, but I was thinking once I stopped dancing, the guy would bring the music down. So I probably stopped 35 seconds in, and I got down on the ground and hit a pose, kind of put my leg up, and then the music kept playing. So then it got awkward for me, and I was like, well, I already stopped. Why isn't he bringing the music down? And so then I, had to kind of move my leg a little bit and move my little gyration there. And I was just like, what the music's not stopping. So maybe. So between entrance, promo, dance off, 12 minutes easily. match, 3 minutes tops.
Excellent.
I got hit with the worm. Very devastating. Surprised I can even talk today. And then
That's
I had
the first time you've been hit with a worm, right?
Well, you've never tried to assault me with your little object, so.
Excuse me. The joke is inchworm.
You said it, not me. Also had a great time going back to Canada for the first time in 3.5 years.
I can't believe they let you in.
Thank you to Top Tier Wrestling, and thank you guys for tuning into this first video version of Iron on Wrestling. Let us know what you think of it.
It'll get better.
What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? Aaron, please say yes. I could find a new co-host, so just keep me posted. Make sure you follow us on social media at Iron on Wrestling on Facebook, X, and Instagram. We should probably make a what's the other thing? Threads. We should probably make that as well. Subscribe on YouTube at Iron on Wrestling. That's where you can find all the latest video content. Subscribe and leave some comments. Let's create some visibility for the podcast. Also, leave a comment and 5 stars wherever you listen to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, wherever. And check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Iron on Wrestling for a buttload of bonus content. Follow me on social media. I'm Gregory Iron on X, Instagram, Gregory_Iron, Facebook.com/The Handicapped Hero. Find me on Pro Wrestling Tees, ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron, where you can get my shirts, Aaron shirts, Iron on Wrestling shirts, some Raw Destiny shirts. It's a good time. It's a great way to support the show. You can find me on Cameo as well. Just search Gregory Iron. I don't know why he's doing this right now. And if you want to book me for pro wrestling, motivational speaking, or pro wrestling seminars, just contact me on any of my social media platforms, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Aaron, what would you like to plug?
Y'all want to book me for a commercial?
They don't.
Or an after-school special?
That will never happen.
Maybe a play? A musical? Whatever. We can work something out, but hit me up at Fair to Air on X and at Fair to Aaron on Instagram. And I got a whole bunch of other stuff too. But I'm going to just drop a little bit on you today, a little bit tomorrow. And then I can't wait to tell you guys about our new social media platform where we're going to be called the Foreskin Horsemen.
Please stop that.
Strongmail.com. Foreskin Horsemen, it's strong.
Now, is that with 2 W's in the URL or 3?
That is www. We got 4 now.
All right. Well,
yeah, because we're the Foreskin Horse.
Make sure you stick around on Patreon for the extended version of the podcast, where we're going to talk about some of the latest releases from WWE, a supposed separation between Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, and a bunch of other current wrestling events that we don't talk in the regular version of the podcast. Until next time, come back next week, next Wednesday, or early on Patreon, and we'll talk to you soon.
Right?
Here's a nice, wet, juicy kiss goodbye. I already kissed you. Just okay. See you next week.
A little bit deeper.